just finished episode 1 of Nobunagun. Very interesting episode this episode. So first of all, Nobunagun, what is the series about? The series is about a girl who's the reincarnation of 15th century Japanese warlord. And he's very notorious for being a very violent, very innovative, because he took a lot of the Western influences and tried to incorporate those influences into his battle tactics. So his signature weapon is, of course, the gun, because the gun was something new, something powerful, that at the time was very overwhelming to the old, samurai sword culture. He kind of deviated from a lot of the norms of that time, and so this series is trying to get at somewhat of the same feel, trying to deviate from a lot of the old stuff that's been done before and making it its own thing. And in particular, the art style of this series, if you'll notice, looks very similar to Fulikuli, to Kill la Kill, to the kind of like the gurren lagann style of artwork, especially with some of the movements, actions, very reminiscent of those kinds of series. But at the same time, it has a very different stylistic approach. Like Monogatari, it has kind of superimposed mosaics onto some of the characters. At very different points of the series, they'll put like different overlays, flowers. You also get some camo camouflage from the military army. And this could be, I don't know if it's indicative of what the scene is about, or if it's just simply whatever the artist decided to be, but it's a very interesting take, because as we progress, we can probably see, is this art style, trying to foreshadow something that's going to happen? Is it foreshadowing the mood? What is the art style there for? Especially though, right now it seems that it's there to catch your attention, especially when they're talking. So it's one of those attention getters. When they talk too much, they use this kind of cameo mosaic just to draw your attention back to what they're saying. And that's very interesting, very, I like how they've kind of realized, hey, this anime does this, so when they're talking, people pay attention, and so why don't we do that for our scene, so when we're talking, people will also, appreciate and maybe get, something out of the background. So far, besides the fact that we know that the girl is the reincarnation of Nobunagun, some crazy ass stuff happens in the series in this first episode. Basically, think about Neon Genesis, and that's exactly what happened in the first episode. Some crazy ass thing, like Godzilla came out from like the water and started killing everybody. She's like, oh my god, all this crazy stuff's happening. I gotta save, the person that's nice to me, that good person, that girl. Nice, I would say, reaction. I have to say this out because we usually don't get these kind of reactions. She was, at the time of this crazy ass attack where people are dying, taken and thrown in the air. I mean, she was believably stressed out, kind of freaked out. It is what you would expect someone, a high school kid, to act in that kind of situation. So props for the realistic setting, the nice setting, the colorful, vibrant colors, and props to the character reacting as she should be reacting when crazy ass shit is happening around her. And so when she goes to save this, girl who happens to be in the midst of all this crazy ass shit happening, she finds that, there's these guys, this organization trying to fight off these monsters. And this organization sends a person, and that person gets basically, I wouldn't say killed, but he gets messed up. And she takes over, grabs, I would say, a Power Ranger badge. Basically like an orb that powers you up, gives you special powers, and materializes a weapon of your choice, if you're a reincarnation. And so she's a reincarnation of Nobunagun, and so we get her basically using this orb to, freaking huge ass gun, incredibly badass gun. I'm also liking the fact that she did not have a suit of armor on. It breaks the immersion for me because I want to see if they're going to use powers. I like it when they don't have armor. When I see it and I don't think, Gundam, or I don't think, Power Ranger. I don't even want to have that comparison in my mind while I'm looking at this series. So that is something I'm thinking about. Hopefully they don't do too many of the armor stuff where they have a, mech armor on for aesthetic reasons. I'm hoping they don't do that and they just keep them as normal clothes, maybe, badass weapons. Good. That's a little bit question though, is that Are these invading objects just from outer space, or are they from the sea? Because we know, at least from this case, that it is this creature that was killed by Jack the Ripper was a fish-like creature, that it has learned to walk. We also learned that it is called the evolution. It's an evolving creature. So it's a creature that changes based on, I guess, how people react, or over time becomes more capable and advanced. So this is gonna be interesting, because if the monsters can evolve and change and become better at whatever they're doing, killing people, what's the reason? What's the reason why they're killing people? Who's controlling them? Is it just, their instinct? Like, are they creatures with instincts that just invade and kill humans? And also, is there gonna be a point? Like, how are the gene holders, the reincarnations of these famous people in the world, gonna fight against them? The invading evolution monsters can power up. Then our heroes, at some point, will have to power up. I mean, they will have to do something to increase their power level, or else they're just gonna be wiped out. How is the power up gonna work? We know it has to do with weapons, because that is the theme of this series is weapons. Weapons can become part of you, and you use the weapons to kill these monsters. And is there gonna be this kind of, we already got a glimpse of it, are there going to be more psychological aspects to this anime? Because now we saw that this character is very vulnerable, at least, to some part of this kind of crazy ass shit. And so if the crazy ass shit continues, I mean, how is that going to change her psyche? Are we going to see her become mentally unstable later on? I hope not too much, but I mean, it can happen. And so, hey, this is interesting. This is nice. This is a good setting to have. Very nice premise, very well executed. Alright, so in episode 2 of Nobunagun, I'm hoping to see more of it, hoping to see it become a great series for this spring. Alright, see ya.